if I say there is hope for complete recovery for people with a concussion, you say
100%.
And in fact, you didn't only feel it, you were outside the regular medical system because they were not interested in you.
Neuroplasticity actually opens you up to the world, makes it possible to develop, make it possible to rehabilitate.
Traumatic brain injury has been caused a silent epidemic for that reason, because it consists of changes and disabilities that are not obvious to other people.
If, as a physician, you felt you had nothing to offer a patient, then I think ethically you need to say, I don't think there's anything I can offer you. Maybe you should see Dr. M.
Historically, we have called these things mild traumatic brain injuries, which implies that, well, it may be a brain injury, but it's not going to have great consequence, right? And that's frankly not true.
Welcome to Concussion Stories, a live genre podcast series filled with hope. I'm here to let you know that you are not alone in your post-concussion recovery journey. My name is Melanie, and I spent 6.5 years learning, experimenting, and training in order to find a way to heal myself from post-concussion syndrome. After making a full recovery by the end of 2018, I embarked on this mission to make the recovery journey easier for you. This is why I started this podcast, wrote detailed blog posts and downloadable guides, offer coaching, and also the course that I wish I had back when I was recovering, teaching you everything that I needed to know in order to make my recovery happen. On Concussion Stories, we dig deep while discussing hopeful stories of recovery as well as the hard stuff in the messy middle. Let's dive right in. Welcome on the brink of a new season of Concussion Stories. As autumn started here in the Netherlands, I got the flu like half of all citizens in this country and sound nasally and am easily out of breath. My apologies. When I set out to make this podcast, I decided to always choose moving forward over aiming for perfection. And I think there's no better way and day to practice this than today. We've got a whole new season to experience together. So let's take what we have and get started. I'd like to start out this season with a short story. My partner's parents watch Hour of Power on Sunday mornings. While making breakfast in their kitchen, I often hear snippets that I find myself writing down eagerly. And last weekend, I heard Bobby Schuller say this wonderful thing: bloom where you are planted. Don't curse what you already have. That went right onto my quote list. Bloom where you are planted. Where are you planted? Where do you find yourself right now? And here comes the second part of the quote. How much do you curse what you already have? If your character is anything like mine, the following questions will resonate with you. How often do you blame yourself? How much do you punish yourself inside your own head, like I did, by thinking angry thoughts aimed at myself? How lazy I am. How spineless. How much do you blame the situation? Do you think thoughts that I thought, like, why is this happening to me? This is so unfair. Do you blame the brain that you can no longer rely on? My brain was my identity before the accident. And when I lost the capacity to work and think like I did before, I was so angry at it, and I fed it crappy food instead of everything it really needed from me. How much do you blame the incident or accident that caused you to sustain a concussion? The accident that happened to me didn't feel like it happened to me. I felt guilty. I felt I should have avoided it. I was so angry at myself and the fact that I let it happen. Do you sometimes, or maybe oftentimes, blame your loved ones who, no matter how hard they try, just don't seem to understand? I isolated myself from my loved ones and convinced myself that I felt so alone. I felt alone, that's true. But the more I thought I felt alone,
the more I created that reality too. And I got more and more isolated. Do you find yourself blaming the doctors who essentially tell you to go home time after time? During my recovery, I was prone to anger and at times even rage. One example when I felt it coming over me was during a visit to a neurologist who acted as the embodiment of patronization by implicitly disregarding the physical origin of my symptoms, stating that I, as of yet, still experience symptoms because I failed to incorporate my lessons. I only expressed rage when I was home alone, so nobody else but me got hurt that day. Oh, I know that there is so much and there are so many people to blame. Because why? Why is nobody helping me get out of this? This is despair. I know it well. And I expect you may know it too. Because it's an emotion that's all too human. Did you see how quickly I got to despair and the conviction that nobody is helping me at all? From a deep-rooted sense of injustice and life being unfair, I went to blaming and lashing out. And from there, the road to despair was only short. Do you know the attitude that underlies and drives that spiral? It's a sense and attitude of hopelessness, which was the default during my first 2 years of recovery. So please don't mistake my honest reflection for blame. This is a safe space where we discuss the depth of our emotions. If you want to find out how come hope is an attitude and how you yourself can change from a state of hopelessness to a state of hope and control, have a listen to episode number 11 on post-concussion hope of season 1. Bloom where you are planted. Don't curse what you already have. If we curse what we already have, we throw away the very things or people that will help us get out of this situation. They are your springboard, and I know you know this in your heart. So, how to move forward? That's a question that I like to ask. If you are like me and recognize all of the above, or some of the above, the thing that will set you free from the cycle of blaming and not moving forward in your recovery is acceptance. No, not of the situation. Set your goal, aim high. Please refer to the season 1 episode about hope again, number 11, because cultivating hope has to do with goal setting too. Acceptance is key. Acceptance of the fact that you are here in this situation that is far from perfect. And maybe most and hardest of all, part 1, that you want to be thankful for what and who you already have in your life. Because, and I don't say this so often because this situation, your situation is real, it's to be taken seriously, but here it comes. Whatever the situation, it could truly, almost always, be worse. So be thankful for what and who you already have in your life. And part 2, make it your resolve to do what it takes to get out of here. You want to bloom where you are planted. Stop cursing what you already have and accept that where you are is messy, but you're going to work with what you have, develop better tools as you move forward, and you will bloom where you're planted. This dump will be the foundation on which you build your most beautiful life. The weeds will become your compost, and the manure will be your fertilizer. If I could change one thing in my post-concussion recovery process, it would have been to never lose hope. It truly cost me years. Don't let it be this way for you. You are in charge of hope. Accept that where you are is not perfect. Embrace and love what you do have. Resolve to bloom where you're planted. Take the weeds and turn it into compost, and you will flourish. This is the mindset to succeed. And with that, let's kick off the new season. In season 1, episodes, in my opinion, could get quite long, and season 2 will feature shorter episodes of about 10 to 15 minutes each. In this second season, you will meet cutting-edge practitioners and researchers that I recorded at the Global Conference on Brain Injury in Dublin at the beginning of 2023. And of course, we've got many interviews lined up. Starting out with the Concussion Stories podcast 2 years ago, my focus for every episode has been to offer two things. 1. Recognition. By holding space for compassion for all the hard, difficult, and often unspoken things, we realize that none of us is alone in this. 2. Hope and positivity. By sharing insights, hopeful stories, and new perspectives. At the start of this new season, I repeat those intentions as I say them out loud. May the episodes that follow help you. I'm sending you love and strength.
Now I would love to hear from you. What do you take away from this episode? Is there something that you can apply to your life right away? Head on over to livejana.com and leave your comment now. And if you want to hear and read more concussion stories, actionable steps, and inspiration, be sure to subscribe to the Live Jana email list while you're there, so that you never miss out on new materials we constantly make for you. If you want to support this podcast, head on over to patreon.com/concussion stories. Thank you for listening to this Concussion Stories episode by Live Jana. May you be well and may you be happy.